You ever stop and think about what's really happening when you search for something online? You type in a few words, hit enter, and bam, the exact answer you needed pops up in like half a second. It honestly feels like magic. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain. We're going to show you the trick behind it all. And trust me, it's brilliant. Okay, so to really wrap your head around this, you have to understand the sheer scale of the problem. We're talking about an internet with well over 1 trillion pages, and that number is exploding every single second. This isn't some neat, organized library. No. It's more like the biggest, most chaotic bookstore in the universe, where new books are just thrown onto the floor every minute with no librarian in sight. So, how in the world do you find one specific page in that giant mess of 1 trillion pages and do it in less than a second? I mean, it sounds completely impossible, right? But it's not magic. It's just a really, really smart system. And we're going to break it down. And here it is, the secret sauce. It really just comes down to 3 big steps: crawling, indexing, and then ranking. Think of it this way. First, you got to discover all the information out there. Then you have to organize it. And finally, you have to decide what's most useful. Today, we're focusing on those first 2 parts, the discovery and the organization, because that's the bedrock. That's how the entire library gets built in the first place. All right, so let's dive into step 1, crawling. You can think of this as the great discovery mission. It's like sending out a massive army of digital explorers with one goal: chart every single corner of the wild, uncharted web. And that's exactly what web crawlers do. So who are these explorers? Well, they're automated programs, bots, that we call web crawlers. You might have also heard them called spiders, which is a great name for them because they are constantly, tirelessly crawling across the web, gathering up all the raw data they can find for our big digital library. But wait a minute, where do they even start? I mean, the web is huge. Well, they begin with what's called a seed list, basically a list of known, trusted websites. And from there, they do what spiders do best. They follow the web. Every hyperlink on a page is like a new thread to follow, leading them to another page, which has more links, which leads to more pages, and on and on and on. It's how they map out the entire internet. Now, the cool part is that this isn't just the search engines doing their thing. Website owners can actually talk to these crawlers. They use 2 simple files. First, there's robots.txt. Think of this as putting up a do not enter sign. It tells the spiders, hey, please don't go into this section of my site. Then you've got the opposite, the sitemap.xml. This is like handing the crawler a perfect, detailed map of your website saying, here are all my most important pages, please don't miss any of them. Okay, so the crawlers have been busy. They've collected a literal mountain of information. But, a giant pile of books isn't a library, it's just a fire hazard. So now we get to the second, absolutely critical stage, building the master index. This is where we bring order to all that chaos. So what is indexing? It's the process of analyzing and organizing all that raw data the crawlers brought back. The search engine takes every single page, rips it apart, and files every little piece of information into this enormous, super organized database. This is the secret ingredient right here. Having this massive pre-sorted database is the whole reason your searches feel instant. So how does a web page actually get filed away? It's a pretty cool process, really. The system first breaks down the page's code. Then it pulls out all the important stuff, the text, the titles, links, you name it. After that, it splits all the text into individual words, which they call tokens. And finally, it does a little cleanup, getting rid of common words like the, or is that don't add much meaning. It's like an incredibly efficient digital filing clerk. And this is the absolute genius of the whole system. It's called the inverted index. Now, a normal index, like in the back of a book, lists a topic and then the page number, right? Well, this does the exact same thing, but for the entire web. It lists every single word it has ever found, and next to that word, it lists every single page where that word shows up. So when you search for, say, Webby and Explainer, the engine doesn't have to search the web. It just looks up those 2 words in its massive index and instantly sees, page 12 has both of them. It's incredibly fast. And that right there is the key thing to remember. The index doesn't store the actual pages, it just stores words and a list of where to find them. That's the whole trick. It's not searching trillions of pages every time you ask a question. It's just doing a super fast lookup in its own pre-built map of words. Okay, but what happens when you have the same book with the same content, but it's sitting on a bunch of different shelves in the library? This happens all the time on the web, and it's called duplicate content. It's a big problem. The solution is actually pretty simple. Website owners can add a little tag called a canonical URL. It's basically a little note for the search engine that says, hey, I know you found 5 copies of this page, but this one over here is the real original version. Pay attention to this one and ignore the others. So let's just pull back for a second. We've seen how search engines go from the total chaos of the open web to a perfectly organized system. It happens through these 2 foundational steps: crawling to find everything and indexing to organize it. That third step, ranking, well, that's what decides the order of the results you see, but we'll save that deep dive for another time.
Let's put it all back into our library analogy one more time. Crawling is the role of the collector, who goes out and finds every book possible. Indexing is the organizer, the one who meticulously creates that perfect card catalog. And ranking? That's the expert recommender, who knows the collection so well they can suggest the perfect book for you. Each one of these jobs is totally different, and you absolutely need all 3 for it to work.
This brings up a really important question, though. Is it possible for a crawler to find a page, but for that page to never actually get put into the index? And the answer is, oh yeah, absolutely. And there are a bunch of reasons why this might happen. A page could have a specific no index tag on it, which is a direct command to the organizer saying, do not add this to the catalog. Or the search engine might just look at the page and decide it's really low quality, or that it's just a copy of a page it already has in the index. So remember, just because the collector brings a book back to the library, that doesn't guarantee it gets a spot on the shelf. The library has standards. But here's the thing. This incredibly elegant system has worked beautifully for decades, but right now it's starting to face some really serious modern challenges. What that means is that the job of just finding and organizing good information is getting way, way harder. You've got super complex websites that are tough for crawlers to understand, pages that just scroll forever. And now, the absolute explosion of AI-generated content. It's creating a tidal wave of new information that the whole system has to figure out how to handle. And that really leaves us with a huge question for the future. For years, the whole mission of search engines was to organize all of human knowledge. But as AI starts creating more and more of the web, what does that mission even mean anymore? How will these digital librarians adapt? How will they tell the difference between what's real and what's not? What's valuable and what's just noise? The very idea of what the internet library is, well, that might be changing right before our eyes.